Very good. It's 1:30, and thank you everybody for attending. We'll begin the Liquor Control Board agenda for today. We got a few items on the agenda. Number one is to approve the minutes of the April 16th, 2025 regular meeting. We have the minutes in front of us. If there are any changes or corrections, otherwise we will accept a motion.
So move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments, changes, or corrections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number two is review liquor applications. 2A, location transfer from Audubon A&E Fusion Cuisine to a new location at 1407 First Avenue North, Class GH license. Steve Sprague to get us started. Steve.
Thank you, Commissioner, and welcome board members. It's good to see a full board up here today. So Abaddon, she is giving up her brick and mortar location and is going to run more like a catering business out of Square One. She's identified an area of that location that will be her liquor storage area. She will not serve out of that area. Anytime she wants to serve, she'll, it'd be like a catering event. So she would get an E permit and bring the license to whatever location it is that she's serving at. Background check was fine with this one. Again, GH is beer and wine. Does require she sell more food than alcohol. I don't know if there's any other questions from the board.
Any questions? So I guess from me, Steve, this is an existing license, and they're, or is it a new license?
No, it is. You're correct. It's existing license. She ran it, I think, for a couple of years out of the brick and mortar location, and then that part wasn't working as well as she had hoped. So, but she built up quite a following, and so she's going to be able to do the catering. This is out of the Square One business building that's on First Avenue North.
Okay, very good. Any other comments or questions?
I've got a quick question, Dave.
Sure.
Steve, we've got some other catering stuff that's kind of going on too. I was curious when they change a location like this, how do we interact with the state to get the refiling of the premises and that? Is that
right? That's going to be her next step is to interact with the state. And at this point, what she's going to have to do is basically present two different new licensed premises. One for the area that's going to be her storage locker, and the other then for the rest of Square One. The state is going to review it when it comes to them. We'll see what they say. But this was step one to get the city's approval to do this, and then she'll talk to the state after that.
okay? Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, if we're ready for a motion,
I'll move to approve.
Now, second.
we have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2B, application for a Class W wine license for Q Nail and Spa located at 1650 45th Street South. Steve.
Yes, sir. And this is a new application. The W is for wine license. Does not require any food sales. It does allow them to have a physical bar. It's not her intent to have a bar. Her intent is just to allow their patrons to have a glass of wine while they're having their nails done or whatever spa activities. I did do a little bit of review here. I know at least one of the committee members has certain feelings about these licenses that are attached to, where the alcohol service isn't the principal activity. So I did a little bit of looking here. Some of the C is beer and W is wine. Some of the beer wine licenses that we've gotten back recently were like Fargo Brewing, Uncorked, and Crafty Taps, all of which you would say were their principal activity was the sale of alcohol. Some of the ones where we have C and W beer and wine out there still include Pixeled, Rough Cut, Dog Leg, 4050 Lounge, and the Nail Company. So most of those have something else that they're relying on to get some income. So we also have a beer only license at Men's Hair World, and then we have a other wine license at the 1889, which again is more like my understanding of the 1889 is you come there and then you prepare meals together and that kind of stuff. So it's not your typical just straight up a bar or anything like that. So I think what we're seeing in the industry is the people that are relying just on the sale of alcohol probably aren't doing as well as the ones where they're supplementing it a little bit. But back to this application, we've talked to her about the licensed premise. She's got it set up so that minors can be there and not be in an area that is part of the licensed premise. They have separate booths set up for those. And I think she understands the server training and all of those other requirements. The background check looked fine from what I could see. I don't know if there are any other questions from the board.
Very good. Any other questions?
One quick question, Steve. Do we compliance check these type of accounts?
So this would be really a question for health department that does those compliance checks. My understanding is that they put all licensees into the basket, into the bucket, and then they draw out the ones that they're going to do the compliance checks on. So they would be 200 and some licenses that we issue a year, and we probably are compliance checking, I don't know, 50 or 100 maybe a year, something like that. So, but they would be in that bucket that they would have the potential of being drawn.
Very good. Any other questions? Are we ready for a motion?
I so move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion carries. Number 2C, application for Class GH beer and wine license for Tropical Spice Caribbean Cuisine located at 3132 Broadway.
Those Northsiders that are familiar with this is the old Happy Joe's. This business now, there was a chicken place in there for a while, but now this Caribbean cuisine has been up there for a couple of years, I believe, and now he is applying for a beer and wine license. It is a requirement that he sells more food than alcohol. He's not allowed to have a bar. We've talked about all of the other requirements that are involved here. So I think this one, again, is pretty straightforward. I don't think there were any serious issues from the police department either.
Steve, can I ask you a question? So a GH, so if people come in and pick up food to take out, can they buy alcohol to go, or has to be consumed on premise?
Consumed on premise. This is not an off sale. So
Okay.
we did relax that during COVID.
Yep.
We had a temporary moratorium. That might be where you're remembering that.
Okay.
Where we allowed businesses to all the way to mixing cocktails if they had like special cocktails. But again, we made sure that they were in a sealed container, so they weren't driving around with an open container. But that was just during that COVID phase. Yep.
Thank you for clarifying that. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, is someone willing to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And 2D, transfer of a Class FA license from Cairo Bar 209 to be located at, a transfer of a Class FA license from Cairo to Bar 209 to be located at 3788 55th Street South. Steve?
And if you're like me, you don't go down that far south. So well, just to give you a perspective of where this is located at, this is south of the South Kmart at 52nd, but it's north of that new Park District facility on 64th. So it's just kind of right in that area. This would be an Applebee's type of a license where the food sales exceed the alcohol sales. The proprietor also runs a place called, I think it's Bar 209 also, and that's over in Beltrami County, Bemidji area. PD was clarifying a few things, and as you walked up, Commissioner, Chief was on the phone just making sure that they've gotten back all the answers that they need. We don't have it for you to review at this point, but what I would like to do, if this is okay with you, since we know that PD now has signed off on it, is that we'd move it forward to commission for final approval. Not that it's super time sensitive, but I know the person from Cairo would like to have this transaction completed. And I think Bar 209 is getting close to being ready to open also.
Okay, so if are there any comments or questions, I guess, so it's,
Has there ever been a FA that's transferred to a new owner
Yes, yeah, we've,
and not in the original spot?
yeah, it's happened quite a bit. Now I'm drawing a blank on when, but, well, actually, this license started off as Johnny Carino's, and then transferred up to Cairo, and now out here farther, so.
very good. Any other comments or questions?
Apparently, it's in my neighborhood, Steve, so
How did we let you get away from the north side, Scott?
there's no homes for sale.
If you want the chief to comment at all on the background check, the questions or something like that,
Do we have any comments about or questions for the chief about the background check? Otherwise, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
So, anybody willing to make the motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 2E, transfer of a Class AB liquor license from K.A. Rick Incorporated, doing business as Rick's Bar, adding additional owners. Steve?
well, and I think if you wanted to, we could probably do F2, the license for Specs Bar. The same thing is happening with both of them. Rick is bringing his family members in. Apparently at 76, he's contemplating retirement. I don't know. I think anybody that knows him knows that'll never happen. So, done the background check on the two applicants, and there were no issues.
So they are background checks, and we don't have to vote on Rick retiring, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's not what we're voting on.
I can just predict that would be a failing vote, but I just, but obviously it's just adding family members, and it's the same process as any additional management. We do a background check, and so it's follow the same process, correct?
Yeah, and Megan and Mike have been in the business since they grew up in it. So they've been in the business since they were kids, and now they're young adults and ready to move on to the next phase. What we're also doing is that 50%, once you transfer 50% of the stock, then that's when we have to do the transfer application. And so we're hitting that threshold with this.
Very good. Any questions about that?
Do you want to do both at once? One
I
motion?
guess, so that's the question, if that's all right with, I'll read the second one too. So E and F, and F is transfer of a Class AB liquor license from M&M Properties Incorporated, doing business as Specs Bar, adding additional owners. So both of them are the same intention.
Yep.
So if that's all right, if we have a motion,
I'll make the motion to approve both.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Very good. And now we'll move on to 3, and 3A is the Police Department Monthly Report, General Report. Chief Zabowski.
Good afternoon. Not too much this week. We did have, or this month, an aggravated assault in the OB on April 27th. Nothing to do with the operations or the bar itself. They were extremely helpful with our folks in the investigation, and we ended up making an arrest in pretty short order. So it was a known actor conflict in the bar that led outside to some shots being fired and things of that nature. So they were helpful. Appreciate their assistance.
So Chief, if you don't want me asking, so we have cameras, and also most of the bars have cameras. So do you work with them in a case like this?
Yeah, so it started inside the bar, so the staff were able to help with that internal video so that we could kind of see what occurred. That was a big help, and some outside video as well helped us with some of the investigation. But that was a boy-girl situation, and that's what happened.
So can I ask you just, obviously, it seems like we're having a lot fewer number on the reports that we're receiving. Would you say that's a positive impact? And can you give us kind of an overall view of that?
Yeah, no, they've commented the last couple of times that actually our liquor issues have been decreasing quite a bit. We get things like this that don't have anything to do with the operation of the establishment. So I think we're all very happy to see that. We're still doing some routine bar checks across town, and but really seeing really good compliance and cooperation. So we don't have at this juncture what I would call any sticklers out there in terms of problem locations, and we're still got some pending litigation on that other case. But I think overall going really well. So I think things are working.
That's great. Thank you very much. Any other comments? Go ahead.
I just want to give kudos to the OB. It's nice to hear when things are going well and everyone's being cooperative. So glad to have a positive report and appreciate you doing that.
For sure. Very good. I don't know if there's any other comments or questions. Otherwise, we'll move on to number 4. And 4A is the request to add FA Golf to the Class E permit. Steve?
Yeah, and if you'll remember, we had this on the agenda last month, and the motion was to delay it a month to see if there was any feedback from the industry or anything like that. I have not heard anything from the industry. I will remind the board here that at least for one of these businesses that is requesting this, because we have it coming from 2 of the golf courses. One of them, it's not new business. This is basically, he was doing all of his catering through Side Street. He's moving the catering functions up to the golf course. And so same number of activity and that type of stuff. For the other one, it would be new activity, new revenue. And again, if you've been around for a while, you know that we've had a rotating door of operators at the golf courses. And just maybe a reminder again that the state law does not allow a municipality or a local sub to own or to have a liquor license. And so it kind of puts us in this position where, if the park district could have the liquor license, then we wouldn't have a problem here. But they have to go out and find somebody to operate, and that person needs to make money. And that's really what it comes down to. So my requested motion on this one is to direct the city attorney, or direct the city commission to direct the city attorney to modify the city ordinance in 25-1506 to allow the FA Golf to receive any E-permits.
That's great, Steve. Can I just ask you a couple questions before
sir.
I ask for more? So we had an issue. It was at Edgewood. So did you meet with them and kind of get that resolved? Because he was. Can you kind of update us on that?
Yeah, well, there were some questions that applicant forgot to fill out on his application, and yes, we got that resolved, and they were just simply, I think, just lapse of memory, that type of thing. So that was all cleared up.
So that would clear up that issue, because at the last meeting he was here and obviously was in a little bit of, didn't really know what to do. So this would help clear that up.
Oh, yes.
Can I ask you one more? So obviously the legislature just concluded, but in the future, do you think this is something we consider asking the legislature to have, allow the public to hold the license? This is down the road now, but is that something that we should consider?
That has been brought up a number of times while I've been here, and now I'm not remembering the reason why, but it's one of those things where, the legislature, they feel is touchy about this. But I know that Grand Forks is in the same position we are. I've talked to Bismarck and Minot. When you have a civic center or something like that, you can't sell a beer there if you're the city. We do the same thing at the Fargo Dome here, the Alaris Center there. They can't, the city can't hold that license, so they have to find a vendor. So.
And I guess that's maybe something that we should pursue as a city, to talk to other cities. But like you said, it's the Fargo Dome, but it's also, like you talked about, the golf courses with the Park District, the Red Hawks Stadium, there's lots of these different entities that it impacts. And so, and to me, if other cities are encountering the same thing, it's something we should consider at least having it be brought up in the legislature for discussion. So that might be something, and obviously it's down the road, but
Yeah.
I think it's something, and it's something for our committee to think about too, so.
Yeah, and it could be something a League of Cities could bring forward for us. And you could craft the language on it so it was pretty limited. I think they want to avoid having municipal liquor stores. A municipal liquor store will a lot of times drive other for-profit businesses out of business, and that's their concern at the state level.
So if that's okay, what you talked about the League of Cities, I think that might be something we should at least, maybe our staff can at least ask them to look at it or something like that. But I do agree that municipal liquor stores in Minnesota and in smaller towns, that's a different category. So, but anyway, go ahead, Bob.
Just an aside, the federal government owns liquor licenses in North Dakota.
I'm not aware of that, but
No, they do. I'm just telling you. that.
I'll have to believe you. Yeah.
And it's really never been a problem. So.
It's also interesting to note that, privately owned facilities like Shields Arena, they have their own liquor license. So, so it's, from the public, they don't differentiate between, the Fargo Dome and Shields Arena. They're both venues, so.
I just think this is a good topic for us to keep on our agenda, because I think it's something, it's at least worth discussion, because right now you have to have an e-permit for a lot of these different things, and it just makes it one more step in the process. So it's a discussion point. So I guess, does that make sense?
Yep.
Whose license is being used at the Dome right now?
Global Spectrum, I believe, is the name of the company that has the license.
I'm not sure either, and I'm on the Dome Finance, and I just had a Dome Finance meeting, but I'll follow up on that to find out. But I'm not sure. But I do think it's a management company, and so it's just one of those things that it's an interesting topic.
Well, I'm not sure if all the bar owners want to be competing against the city.
And that's why the rule is there. But right now, anyway, that's a topic for another day.
Yep.
We can certainly investigate and do some work. I can mention it to administration and maybe to Nancy, to our city attorney, and we can see if there's support someplace. But item before us is amending the ordinance to allow permits for FA Golf.
I apologize for getting us off topic, Steve, so I apologize for that. But so anyway, any other comments or questions about the golf Class E permits? Otherwise, is there some? Oh, go ahead. Sure, come on up. Just give your name at the mic. That'd be great. And anybody else that wants to make a comment, you're welcome to.
Hi, my name's Dan Herder. I own the Boiler Room in Marge's Diner downtown. We do quite a bit of bar catering, pull a lot of e-permits. The only comment I might make is if you're making changes to the ordinance, you consider other liquor license types that are also prevented from getting e-permits. For instance, the FARZ license is not allowed to get one. Somewhere in years past, I made a strategic decision to upgrade one of those licenses to an FA license for more money because it did allow us to get into that catering piece. So if this could very easily come up again next month when some other operator wants to get into catering as well. So you might consider all of the restricted licenses and maybe handle that all at once, but that's my comment.
That's an excellent point. So thank you very much for making that comment. And I do think that's why it's good to have public opportunity for comment, because there's a lot of things that if we decide to change something, you have to think about the consequences and impacts on the other license holders and things like that. So that's excellent. Thank you for doing that. So any other comments or questions? Are we ready? Do we have a motion in a second?
Not yet.
I will make the motion.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Very good. That's everything on our agenda. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Have a good afternoon. Stay dry. We've got enough rain, so hopefully the sun will come out.
Spigots off.
We're adjourned.